Hello and welcome to this brand new video. In this video we are going to explore various ways of fixing up your old, how do you put this politely, crappy laptops. These are 3 examples of various pieces of junk which have been found on places like FreeCycle over here in the UK and Facebook Marketplace, and various examples of things that you may have dotted around your house. We're all conscious of it. Old laptop becomes a little old and decrepit, like this lovely Dell Inspiron here, but and is either discarded, put in a corner of a drawer, or just simply thrown out. Now in this video I'm going to explain how that's not always the best option and how you can fix your old laptop for less than 20 British Queen Quids or King Quids now. These 3 examples here, this is a Dell Inspiron 1521 with a dual-core AMD processor running the best version of Windows ever. Not. This is a lovely little Samsung Q320, which is lacking and running Windows 7, and this over here is what every single school over here in the UK seems to have still to this day, a D630, a Dell Latitude D630. Solid little laptop, but again, lacking. Now this video will apply to any devices made after 2007. Before then, I cannot promise that the devices will really be supported. I'm looking at you over there, Mr. 2006 Latitude, but we'll get on to that. These 2 are going to be the main focus of this video. Oh, he's had enough. Yes, that one over there was made in 06, which does complicate things a little bit, but generally as long as it was shipped with Vista or 7, this video will apply. However, there are, of course, a few exceptions to this. Exception number 1 is this little Samsung. Yeah. Now, this thing, it works. It is supported by this method, which I'll be showing you. However, it's even more lacking than these other ones. These little netbooks, as they're called, while they can be saved, personally they're not really worth it unless you're pulling some form of Linux on them. They are extremely underpowered, and they only support up to 2 GB of RAM. They can support 4 GB in some cases, but that gets pricey when we're dealing with DDR2, as I'll get onto in a minute. The other exception is little mini HPs like this, and yes, it does work with this method and this one. Yeah, not a lot's happening there. But anyway, this thing is a little 12-inch HP 2530p, and this one has this sort of SSD in it. So these are sort of mini SSDs, if you like, sort of the mSATA before mSATA, and these can get really pricey really quickly because not many devices use them. While again, if you can find one of these on the cheap, brilliant. In which case, if you have one of these, it will make this worthwhile. However, I cannot recommend getting these as price per gigabyte is stupid. We're going to start with this lovely Inspiron 1521, which was not found in a bin. Anyway, this thing currently has, as I said earlier, a dual-core AMD processor and 2 GB of DDR2. More on that in a moment. Now, the upgrades that you're going to be doing to us, is we're going to be adding an additional 2 GB of RAM. This is the type of RAM which this thing takes. It's a lovely 2 GB stick of DDR2. And we're going to be adding this SSD. And you're wondering why only 60 GB? It doesn't need any more for the operating system we're going to be using. and these can be found in the UK in sites like CX and again eBay. These can be found for super cheap, and it just keeps budgets down, and you don't want to be spending a lot of money on your old laptop, and that's the point of this video. You'll find as well that there are many options for SSDs, 60 gigabytes or more on eBay as well, as you can see here. Now, to start with, when dealing with your laptop, obviously you want to make sure that it's completely turned off and that you have a clear-ish workspace. Now, obviously, close the lid, and we're going to flip it over. Sorry, cat's making noises. Now, one thing I recommend doing before you even touch anything inside a laptop is to take the battery out. Now, in this case, it is nice and easy. It's just two little flick thingies here, and we did take out this fine Dell 56 watt hour battery. Place it over there. Now, first things first, the RAM. Nice and simple to do. Now, this RAM can be found under this little flap here, which we'll just quickly take out. But wait, it's not there. And that is because this laptop has a bit of RAM on the other side of the motherboard, which I didn't realise. Now, this makes things a little bit simpler, as we only need to add one stick. However, it is very simple upgrading it, as we'll see with the Samsung in a bit. Now, adding the RAM is as simple as literally just lining it up in the slot at about 45-degree angle, putting it in, and simply pressing down on it until you hear a click. And if it is already RAM in your laptop, it is as simple as pulling these little metal tabs on the outside and doing the exact opposite. Rather conveniently, this laptop also has the BIOS battery, nice and easily accessible, which seems to be the only laptop on the planet which actually does this. These can die as well, but unfortunately in this laptop that isn't the case. Putting the actually metal cover back on here is again nice and easy. Just simply put it back on and screw it up. Next, if I move this over here a little bit, we have the hard drive, which is actually located here. Now, that can be taken out by undoing 4 screws of this little icon, whatever you want to call it here, which is nice and easy. Just simply unscrew. And then you'll find that the hard drive literally says should just slide out, because apparently this one doesn't want to, because that's kind of it, isn't it? There we go. And there we are. The hard drive will slide out, and you'll see we've got the finest 320 gigabyte 5400 RPM Seagate hard drive, which does not look like the original one which came with the laptop, but yeah, it's just 2012, so this has been replaced at some point. What have they reinstalled Vista on it? I don't even want to know, but you know. Now, taking out of this little caddy thing, it's nice and easy as well. We just got to undo the screw here. Again, we'll just place that over there, and a screw on the other side. Like so. And take the hard drive out and we'll put that where it belongs in a moment. And then we're going to rinse and repeat, but with our lovely SSD, which we have acquired here. And we're just going to do the exact opposite of what we did to begin with. We're just going to screw that in there and screw that in there. Then we're going to get, you can see that's a CX part number there. So that's where that's come from. And we're just going to slide this back in like so until we feel a little bit of resistance. And then we're going to tighten up the screws again, like we did, rinse and repeat. There we are. And then finally we can put the battery back in until we hear a nice little click. And we can double check that it still turns on, which no reason why it wouldn't, but you know, just put that all the way down so you guys can see it and you can see yourselves. And this is when we realise that I've killed the laptop. And there we go, straight back up again. Perfect. Now, with the Samsung, it's a little bit different if we move the Dell out of the way. Now, the Samsung already has 4 GB of RAM in it, but again, I'll explain how to upgrade it if for whatever reason it doesn't. Now, first things first, you're going to want to make sure that obviously laptop's off, no lights are on. As you can see there, there's nothing going on there. And we're going to turn it down, like so. Next, we're going to, again, like we did last time, it's already wanted to come out, we're going to take the battery out, like so, and the RAM, you'll find, is underneath this little plastic flap here. Just unscrew that. Again, there we go, and you can see we have two 2 GB sticks of DDR2 here, nice matching sticks there, which we don't need to upgrade because that's a maximum supported anyway. Again, yes, some laptops will support 8 gigs of DDR2, but that stuff is stupid expensive. And we'll put this little flap back in place there. Now again, this one already has an SSD in it, but again I will show you how to upgrade it. Now Samsungs like to add as many screws as physically possible to their devices because they can, and what we're going to do is we're just going to undo all these screws here, which are these 3, like that, and then we can take out this thing here, and you'll find there is the finest of Western Digital green SSDs. This has actually got a 120 gig in it already, but you can obviously, that can be quickly swapped out with either a larger capacity SSD, a 60 gig like we put inside the Dell, or we put a hard drive in if you really want to, but I wouldn't recommend doing it. You'll find as well that this does have this strange adapter thing. These can be found very cheaply on eBay. It's just, but again, if you already have a laptop or already have it, make sure not to break these, as these can sometimes be a pain to find. But that there simply attaches to the drive in question, and then it simply just pushes down on top, like so. And then we can get our flap again, plastic cover, whatever you want to call it, and then we can simply screw it back in. All the screws are the same, so it's okay. There we are. One more. There we go. And then we can put the battery back in. And once again, we can double check that it still works. Oops, that'd be helpful if we had any battery in it, wouldn't it? Let's plug the charger in. And there we go, we have life. And we're up. Perfect. Now on to the next step. To get the installer for Windows 10, what you're going to do is simply Google Windows 10 download, as you can see here. You're then going to click on this top link here once you've obviously searched it, and you'll find, if you scroll down a little bit, create Windows 10 installation media. You will need to obviously have a USB stick available. To install Ubuntu, you'll need to again go to Google and search Ubuntu. Simply literally just Ubuntu or Ubuntu download, and then download Ubuntu desktop or get Ubuntu. You'll see at the top there is the Ubuntu download option, and there are alternative downloads should you need to, but what we want is Ubuntu desktop. Let's go on a laptop, and then simply press the download button here, which will download a file. You'll also need to download a tool called Rufus, which you can see I'm searching for here, and it's again this top link there, and you can download it nice and easily using the link there which I've highlighted. There'll be a link in the description as well. So that's part 1 of this video over. In part 2 we will cover how to actually install software onto these devices, and how to actually optimize them for use with the SSD, which we just installed or had already installed, and we'll go over some tips and tricks on how to, how to make the most out of your old decrepit laptop. I hope this video has been helpful, even though it has gone on a bit, but yeah, and I will see you all in the next video.